So welcome back to Scraping the Plate. I know it's been a while, but we are back at it to cook some delicious Italian comfort food. And especially where it's getting cold out, we should think warm.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. And then Kayla, we went to multiple places today. She took me here.
Took me everywhere.
I don't know if you've ever seen this place,
I've never been here. Italy, at the Peru. Insane.
Like, we got the stinky cheese. You know, we got Parmesan. We talked about the Parmesan, how it's aged. So this is aged 12 months. You know, when you get stuff in the store, it's really not aged. It has that, like, just regular color to it. It's pretty even. This one you can actually see.
The mold.
Yeah, you can see the mold, and that's, like, it's been setting for a year in Italy and getting some good flavor for us. So the Parmesan, I love the smell of fresh Parmesan. And when you cut that open, you'll really see the resilience in that. We also got a type of bread. What type of bread do we get today?
We got focaccia bread.
Focaccia bread. All right, so Kayla, let's get to making these meatballs. What are you doing over there while I'm cutting up this parsley?
So I am grinding up some salt and some pepper for our meatballs. And way on the other side of you, we have garlic and the focaccia bread. I'm going to be grinding up the salt and the pepper here.
And what's great is we use it all fresh stuff. Whenever you can use fresh stuff, you definitely want to use it. You don't want to use stuff that's canned or...
Because you can really tell the difference, guys. When you, the difference between using fresh food and boxed up food is you can really
pays one for a ride, you know? So I got some parsley over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to chop up some fresh Parmesan that we talked about earlier. That fresh Parmesan there in blocks. And then we're going to cut it and then we're going to stick it in the processor because we want to add that actually to the meatballs, inside the meatballs. So not only do we want to top it with the Parmesan cheese, we want to have it part of the ingredient actually in there. We're going to take a little bit of shallot, which is just a fancy onion, but it has definitely a different taste to it. We're going to use this with our Marsala too. So we're going to have a thread that goes through the food where it's going to be the shallot and the Parmesan, and we use a Marsala wine. We reduce that down, flavor the chicken. We got to take that stuff out. We got to beat it up a little bit. You know, so when you're making that chicken, I see people when they make it, they don't make it right. They don't pound it out. Like, you should definitely pound that chicken out and get it nice and flat, you know. Okay, so when you're making these meatballs, the things you want to do is you don't want to be angry with the meatballs, okay? Yeah. If you crunch them really hard, right, they'll be tough to cut through and they'll be rough. You want to just roll them with your palm.
See, so here's mine.
So this is something that people don't do. It's a little trick. Roll them with your palm, and that's how you get that nice round shape, and you don't crush the meat all together. You already mixed it. So now it's just like leaving them light, so when you cut into it, it's kind of like fluffy. And then we'll put them in the pan, and then we'll cook them up. So let's continue to make these. When we make meatballs, we tend to make a little bit of meatballs. So we had this, kind of big, bowl here, but we emptied that out. And that's all of our meatballs going right now. We had fresh ground pepper, the fresh ground salt, sea salt. And literally, when you cook fresh, it makes a huge difference. So whenever you get fresh ingredients, get it. It makes a huge difference. The braising over here is going on behind me. We got 2 pans going right now. I'm kind of slacking off a little bit. I have to jump on my pan in a second. Kayla's almost done with her pan. She's going to put it on a cookie sheet, and then we're going to bake it. And when you bake it, we're going to cook it all the way through, but not so much that it's all done, but almost there. And then we take it out and we put it in the red sauce. And then when the red sauce is there, that'll actually absorb that flavor too with the meat. So guess what we're gonna do when we make our red sauce? We're gonna use this grease in this pan and the oil that's cooking the meatballs. We're gonna use that grease again. We're gonna repurpose it and we're gonna put it in the sauce, give it a more of a vibrant flavor. So let's go for it.
To make the chicken marsala is you're gonna have to prepare some garlic cloves. Make sure all the shell is also looks like this.
Right.
And the parsley, mushrooms, and what do you call it?
Shallow.
There you go.
Far from the shallot now. So yeah, we're gonna do some shallots in there, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna cook these down. The onions, the mushrooms, the garlic. We're gonna cook that in a separate pan.
Yep.
We're gonna go ahead and add a little
Broth.
some chicken broth, which we have over here. We have some chicken broth. What do we have over here?
All right, we have. Let's see. What is it? What's it called again? I'm sorry.
It's the
Marsala cooking wine. Duh.
Yeah, it's Marsala wine.
It's Marsala
so
wine.
Marsala wine is going to give it that resilient taste. And some people, to thicken up the Marsala sauce, I love thick, tasty sauces, is they use the double O flour if you want. So we have that. We're not going to use that tonight. We're actually going to add a little bit of cream. And we don't want a light cream. We don't want something that's going to curdle real quick. We want a heavy cream and very low temperature. So the last part of the cook, we're going to sear the chicken, and then we're gonna take the Marsala stuff, pour it over, and add a little of that light cream, but then we don't wanna cook it very high. You wanna cook it very low and slow and bring all those flavors together.
Yeah.
So the second part of cooking the chicken will be in that pan. And let's go, let's get to the next step. All right, so we're back again, and we're gonna be doing some chicken Marsala. So, of course, chicken comes in the big format like this. You can get it actually cut. But we can't do anything with big chicken like that. No one's eating chicken like that. So we're gonna have to cut it, and then we're gonna have to macerate it. So you wanna beat it up a little bit, you know, and give you a little bit more space.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do that next, and we're gonna use a little bit of flour, we're gonna use a little bit of egg wash. And this is different than the chicken parmesan, because the chicken parmesan we're going to use a breadcrumb, and this we use a flour, you know. So a light taste. We have an oiled pan and ready to go. We have the Marsala sauce boiling behind us, reducing down. So let's get the chicken going now, and I'll show you how we cut this. I'm just going to show you first.
Yep.
But you put your hand firmly down on the chicken, and then you come right across the middle. It's almost like I've done this before, you know. So what that does is that gives you a fillet.
Yeah.
Like we can work with that fillet. So take that, same thing, and I'm gonna cut the next one.
Yeah.
So the next one, same thing. We're just gonna put pressure down on the breast itself and then run our knife right across the middle of the breast. And you gotta be real careful. These are sharp knives. Yeah, I see that pan moving too, don't worry. We're good. So again, we're getting that thin piece out of that real thick piece. So we get it halfway there, living on a prayer. So we're gonna have you take the plastic wrap and roll me off a couple of slices of that. And you should use when you do a chicken, you should use a plastic cutting board, not a wood cutting board, just because you don't want any of that fish or meat or anything like that getting involved. So you're gonna rip off a piece there. I don't know, I think we should have left it in the pack. What
Well, it's like not, I don't know what I did here. I don't know.
But there you go. So put it back in that thing. This will work.
Yep.
This will work, because I can make things work. I grew up in a place where you make things work. But you want to cover the meat, and the reason why you want to cover the meat like that'll work, Kella. But you want to cover the meat like that because you don't want the splatter to go everywhere in the house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Splatter's bad like that. And then we just want to pound it down. And this is like, I go to restaurants, and it's kind of funny, Kayla. I see the way they make the Marsala, and it's like, dude, did you even like hit it once? It's like so thick. I'm like, I can't eat that. That's like a huge piece. I can't do that.
You make it thin.
Yeah, you make it thin. So
Not too thin though.
you just hammer it out a little bit. And you see how it's spreading out? It's getting bigger.
Bigger, yeah.
Now, this is going to be a huge piece of chicken. You know, this is literally going to take up this whole pan, I think. So. Now, a lot of times you want to beat this, right, until this chicken becomes translucent. So you can see the color of your hand on the other side, okay? This is kind of big, so we're just going to cut this again. You see where we're going with this, where it's getting even bigger?
Yeah.
You know? So now we have a smaller slice. I'm going to take that, we're going to macerate. We're going to kick that down too. And you can use a cheesecloth on this too, or you know, but you want to just take that and really hammer it down. But you see how it's covered? It's not like splashing everywhere. So again, either a cheesecloth or a piece of plastic, and you can see where it's not coming into the chicken.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
this the hell happened?
once again, scraping the plate, Kayla's gonna just macerate some of this chicken. Once we get it thin enough, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper. A little bit of salt, as she's assaulting the other piece of chicken. And then what I like to do is I like to add a little bit of garlic powder. I'm all about garlic. So I'll add a little bit of garlic powder on that breast as well. And let's see, we got 2 more to do. Let's see what goes on. So again, a little bit of salt and pepper. And then also, before I add a little garlic powder. And that sticks right to the chicken. I like garlic. Garlic is my friend. So,
He doesn't love garlic.
you know, garlic. So put one more breast in there. We'll do that. And then a little secret ingredient for our Marsala tonight. What are we going to put in here now? What do we have with this little oil? What's this all about?
It's a truffle oil.
Truffle oil. So high quality truffle oil, a little bit of olive oil. Oh yeah, and it only needs, like, see how it comes out? It's only little drops for that truffle oil. That's really gonna give you some serious flavor. All right, we'll take that, and then what we'll do is, now that we have the oil, the truffle oil, that we have them, you know, nice and with the flour, and we're gonna take that over to the stove. We're done with our spaghetti and meatballs.
Yep.
We're gonna move our spaghetti and meatballs off the flame. That's ready to go. We'll take the chicken. We'll have you wash your hands so we can get the next batch in.